may have beginner's luck, but we'll see.
Well, that screws everything else because I'd rather be a lucky beginner and get that one. He's also not terrible to look at. I mean,
his face is
scruffy and I got my shirt down to here. He's not terrible to look at.
Yeah, he's very symmetrical. Yeah, he's hot. Are we recording? Oh, good.
We are recording.
Yeah, good. So, but he's a great guy. So I'm excited that he joined.
What a sport. I mean, if you have a book drop, I'm hoping this happens. You've got people clamoring to interview you and, put you on their podcast and put you on their show and get you to whatever. And Diana's like, I'm going to call him.
Anyway, I know not just everybody would be up for that, so I was pretty impressed. All right. So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, in our last episode, or Lee Bartlett touched on something that just drives me up a wall. And so I want to talk a little bit about the selling mix and most importantly, like why we have to be like one way or the other. Like this whole debate over what's the right way to sell, it irritates the snot out of me because I don't think it's just one way. So we'll talk about that. That's on my agenda. What about you?
That's so good. In between when we were getting onto the phone, I got an email from somebody that says, you shouldn't just rely on cold calling, which is, kind of talking about what you're talking about. There should be a selling mix.
Right.
Let's see. I'm just so Twitter-pated from our last success that negotiating contracts with big companies and ways to, I just think a lot of people get into a contract with a Fortune, 500 company and they don't understand the dynamics of what those people need to do to get a contract signed. And so they take things personally, or they have a lot of fear when they're talking to the people that they need to interact with. So I had a little bit of a win, actually quite a big win this week. And I wanted to kind of share that. And then, if we get to it, I just want to talk about, the roller coaster ride that sales is, because I really feel that, there are people out there that get discouraged and sometimes it's really hard. And I had a couple little, I had a really hard week last week, and then, the sun rays broke through as they always do. So I wanted to just kind of give everybody an idea of, what I do about the emotional roller coaster that sales is.
I like that. Okay. All right. Well, let's kick us off.
All right, great. So welcome everyone to the SellOut show where we are always sold out. I am Dianna Guerin, and I am the irreverent sales girl where my mission in life is to bring a dash of dignity to the art of selling.
Hi, Dianna. I'm Shawn Sandy of the Selling Agency, where we coach humans how to sell to other humans because selling like Ninja Turtles just is not working.
Where's our Ninja Turtle? We need
over there. It's funny because he's looking at me. Let me turn it.
Oh my God, he is. Oh shit.
Well, and I'll tell you why. So this morning I was on the treadmill and I was running on the treadmill, and which is right next to it. I have a treadmill desk, and I picked up a little face towel to wipe my face, and I fell off the treadmill, landed with a huge thud. Nobody in my house woke up to see if I was okay, but I had my phone with me. I think I took a picture of this, and the turtle is right next to the treadmill, so I knocked him over on top of me. It looked like he was molesting me. It looked like he was a horny Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle on top of me. So
you actually have a picture of this, because we need to insert it. If you can send that, that would be that would be epic, really.
Yeah. I will. I might. I don't know. This is me on the floor. I had because I was listening to a podcast, and so I had my phone. Normally, let's plug it into my computer, my headphones, my computer, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I need proof of this." But yeah, and so no one came. Like it was like this giant thud rattled the whole house, but no one came.
Oh my God, we've got like the triple X rated show. We've got porn star looking guests. We've got value vaults and customer penetration and I don't know, what is this, animal husbandry or whatever. This is a terrible show. All right, cool. So, what would you like to talk about? What's the rundown for today?
All right, today in the rundown, this is what we might talk about. I want to talk about something that irks me, because you and I we're both seeing this all over LinkedIn messages about, there's only one way to sell, and this way doesn't work anymore. It's only this way. And so I want to talk about what I call the selling mix, because I think that that's a much healthier way to sell. Mm-hmm. So that's what I've got. What about you?
That's great. So besides, I don't have a Ninja Turtle story, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the emotional roller coaster ride, but that'll come at the end, because I had a little breakdown and then a breakthrough, and I just think it really helps for people to hear how sales really is for people. And then I had a little win on negotiating a contract with a Fortune 500 company, and I realized that because of the way the company that I was selling for was responding, that maybe sellers out there deal with the same thing. And I wanted to kind of walk you through a little. I mean, it's not going to be long, and it's going to be really engaging, but about how to deal with a Fortune 500 contract to keep your sanity and get the terms that you want. So
right,
that's what I wanted to talk about today.
Awesome.
Do you want to start with your selling mix rant?
Yeah, Rant Alert. So this is great because you have to watch our interview with Lee Bartlett, who was our surprise guest, and he was such a good sport. And you asked him a great question, which was, tell us some things that sellers should absolutely not listen to. And he alluded to this, and I was like, preach, like this is, we're talking my language here. Why is it we're seeing articles and authors writing about there's only one way to sell, like cold calling is dead, and you only have to use your social network or pick up the damn phone. And I just think it's all crap, because there's not just one way. It doesn't work for everyone. I've got a client, and we're selling shipping and packaging solutions into companies that manufacture stuff. Shipping directors are not on LinkedIn. I can't socially sell to someone where they're not, and oftentimes it's a cold call or, excuse me, walking in the door that works. So, I mean, just like
what?
Yeah. What?
Human contact? I don't know. No.
Yeah. So, I mean, this drives me crazy, but you cannot, I challenge you to go through a day on LinkedIn and not see someone who says there's only one way to do it. Yeah. This is what's always bugged me about sales training was, forget everything you're doing. Everybody does it this way. Everyone will be successful. And I think you have to have a healthy selling mix, which takes into account your customers. Where are they? Where do you meet them? Your product. Where's your product in the food chain? We're selling box sealing tape. My client's the manufacturer. We're selling box sealing tape.
Wow, that is sexy.
I know, right? Don't you want some of that? It's important. If the boxes don't get sealed, then the boxes don't go, or, whatever. But you have to understand who you're calling on and where you are in their food chain. That's a commodity. You have to understand how to sell a commodity.
Yeah.
And then also what your skills and talents are. If you're a newbie seller, you're going to do some things better than others. So you need to spend some time practicing the other things while you do the things that are working.
Yeah.
So I take such great offense to the whole notion of there's only one way to do things. Don't listen to that. Do not listen to that. Do not listen to that crap.
Do not listen to that. No, you've got to get good at all the sets. And I think the thing that you have to get the most good at, which we've demonstrated over and over again in the show, and it's your whole thing, which needs to be understood a lot better. Because it's not just a light idea, what you talk about customer currency. You actually have a whole methodology where this came from. It's a deep, complex issue. And we thought, if you don't know where somebody is, you don't know where they eat lunch, you don't know what their life looks like, you just are not, your buyers need you to be smarter about who they are and where they are. Exactly. Like, there's a lot of people in the manufacturing. There are no business owners who own a manufacturing firm that are going to be on LinkedIn. I just promise you, there just aren't. And they're not going to be on Twitter, and they're not going to be on Instagram. But they are going to be probably at their local chamber of commerce. They are going to be at I don't know, you
Trade
can, like,
shows.
crash a PTA meeting, but do you know what I mean? Like, hey, they have a physical address.
Mm-hmm.
There's this thing called an envelope and a stamp that you can actually put into the U.S. Postal Service and delivered straight to their door. So, and they probably even still have a phone at their desk. Imagine that. So,
I know. Yeah. I just, it's not one size fits all. And not only that, but even within organizations, you may have, even within organizations and within titles and industries, you have different people. You know, not every HR director is going to be on LinkedIn. Not every marketing person is going to be on Twitter. And so it doesn't work like that. You have to be flexible, and you have to learn the selling mix and which pieces you put in there.
That's exactly right. That's so good. I'm glad you're bringing, you know, I would love for my competition to say that they don't do any cold calling. I'd be like, that's great. Because guess what? You'll be connecting on LinkedIn and following them on Twitter, and I'll be walking in their office and getting ink on paper.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So thank you very much.
All right. So speaking of ink on paper, that was a good segue.
Negotiating contracts. So I had a deal that I was working for a company that is a client of mine, and they're selling to a Fortune, might even be a 200 company now with everything that they've been doing. Anyway, I love me my Fortune tops because they're scary for a lot of sellers to sell into. And these people really wanted to do business with us, and they understood why they wanted to do business with us, and they had the budget to do business with us. So then it gets along to the time to, you know, sign an agreement. So of course we send our paper over. It is very rare in this day, although I have gotten it done before in the right circumstances, but it's very rare that you're going to actually get a Fortune 500 company to use your paper as the and what I mean by use your paper is, you know, use the contract that you've designed for people to sell. So you have to be ready for them to come back at you with what they call their paper, their contract, their terms. Now, if you really need to toe the line on your paper, that's a whole other conversation. But I encourage you in your organization to figure out how to work with their paper. So, because it'll just speed the process up. So we get their contract back, and my customer is going bonkers. They're like, we can't agree to these terms. What are they trying to do to us? Oh my God. And I'm like, you know, whoa, here's what's going on here. Is our business buyer wants something, they know that there needs to be a contract, they send it over to legal sent over their boilerplate, and that's all there is. There's nothing personal going on here at all. So what you do is you just sanely kind of walk through and you determine the things that you can accept first. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. You had better be ready to accept some kind of crazy payment terms. That's what a credit line is for. If you are a small business, you've got to be able to accept their payment terms. And sometimes they're crazy, like 60 days, which is pretty brutal. But got to be ready to accept their payment terms. Got to be flexible on where choice of venue is. It's very unlikely you're ever going to go to court. So, you know, all these world of accept anything that you possibly can. And then when you communicate back to your client, you say, hey, look, we can accept all these terms. Like, that's the first thing that you talk about is we are, you know, we got it. You need to do your boilerplate. But then you share with your business buyer, like, what are the issues that the contract doesn't match the character of your relationship, what you're trying to accomplish. And then, because here's the thing, you're going to send them something back that then they put to their legal department. Their legal department doesn't know the first thing about why they're engaging with you. They just want to know, they just need to protect their company, right? So anyway, so you go back with the things are must-to-haves, but you put them inside the context of it makes sense because of the conversations y'all have been having. And so anyway, we went back 5 or 6 rounds, which really scares some people to do 5 or 6 rounds, but it's so common. And then I just asked at the end, I said, you know, there's some language that we need to clean up to meet the characteristics of the contract, because my customer was freaking out saying, oh my God, they're trying to get something over on us. I'm like, no, this is boilerplate. We're just going to send it back to them with all the boilerplate removed, exactly the way that we want the contract to look now. And we're going to turn it into a PDF. We're going to have it signed, and we're just going to have them sign it and send it back to us. And my customer said, that's never going to work. And then guess what happened?
Oh, yeah.
We got ink on paper. So my point is, a lot of times your buyer, when it's the business unit, has never even bought anything before, and they don't know how legal is going to be, and you do. So anything that you can do to educate your customer to really understand how many deals they've done and how much political capital they have to get a deal done. These are really smart things to be asking your customer. And, you know, if they really want to buy, the legal department is there designed to help them buy. So anyway, that was a really long rant. I'll make sure that it's, you know, quippy, but what do you think of all that?
Well, yay, congratulations on your win. And, you know, 2, so yay is number 1. Yay is a 1. Then there's 2. Yeah, I think that especially smaller businesses, they're not expecting that. As with Office Max, we would respond to RFPs sometimes that would go back and forth, like a tennis match. And, you know, it is not personal. That is what their job is. You know, their job is to dot, they say the expression, to dot the I's and cross the T's, because that's why they're there. Their you know, business driver is to protect the company, and they're not experts in your product, your business, and it just takes time. So I really like what you have to say about, you know, that's why business lines of credit are there. You know, for smaller businesses, oftentimes they can't afford to do business with larger companies because of those payment terms.
Right.
You know, we would, at Office Max, we'd have some small vendors in the print department, and, you know, Office Max was a slow pay, and they were just dying because, you know, they would take 60 days to pay an invoice or something. And, you know, but you have to be, if you want to do business with big companies, you got to act like a big business, which is to really cover your butt and to understand that this takes some time. So very good point. Good point.
Yeah. And I think you know, you really nailed something of, you know, you are a peer. They want something that you've got just because you're like a little tiny fish. They're scared. A lot of big companies are scared of doing business with you because you're going to behave in a weird way that they don't know how to predict. So the more things that you can do to make them less concerned, like walk them through the process and say, hey, you may or may not, we've done so many contracts with big companies. This is how it normally works. If you can provide some leadership for your buying team, that's huge. But also, you know, just don't get worried. You're allowed to ask for the things that you need. And if you have a payment term problem, it's not unusual to say, okay, is there any way that we can get 25% or 50% of the contract expedited? And, you know, sometimes because we're investing in this relationship and we have to invest in deliverables, so we'd like to kind of have you match that with us. Then that's something that they can often work with too, is they can expedite that first payment. So just know there's nothing to be afraid of. If they want to do business with you, you want to do business. Ultimately, the legal team is there to get the deal done, not to block you from getting it done.
Yes, and don't be afraid to push back. I mean, you know, infrastructure and organizations. I will tell you a story one day about when I was told that a promotion did not come with a increase in base pay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, you know, so I take on more responsibility for people. I go from a team of 3 to a team of 12 of people, which I didn't hire, but now I'm responsible for them. Oh, my success and bonus is tied directly to them.
So what happens if you get a demotion? Do you get more money? I think I'd like to go backwards, please.
Yeah. Well, so I didn't take it. My boss was so pissed at me. He's like, what do you mean you're not taking a promotion? You know, I said, I want to increase in base. I would not have hired these fools, PS. And he said, well, this pay grade, that's not in this pay grade. I said, I don't care. You're a big company. I bet you can do whatever you want. If you really want me to take on these other 9 people, these other 3 offices, I'm sure they'll make it happen.
Wow.
So I hope he never watches this episode, but we're friends now. He can probably laugh about it. So I just held out. He could not believe it. He was so pissed at me. And the next time he came to town, I had selectively removed a lot of personal effects from my office.
Oh. Like, I may be 1 foot out the door here.
Exactly. He said, what's going on? I said, what are you talking about? What's going on in your office? I said, what do you mean? He's like, well, where are your pictures? Oh, I was just cleaning.
You are so crafty.
Well, you know what happened?
You got the promotion, you got a raise.
Yes, absolutely. They can do whatever they want. Just because the company tells you, no, that's not how we do it, that's a bunch of crap. That is a bunch of crap. They can do whatever they want. It's just guidelines to help them make everything work smoothly. Well, if they really want to work with you, if they really want to hire you, if they want to promote you, they will make it work.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You got to know what they want. See if you've got it. Ask for the prize.
And then take stuff out of your office.
Show them you're serious.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a brilliant idea. Because it wasn't like it wasn't an ultimatum.
No, it was just, I've always liked to say, I like to keep my bosses just a little bit scared of me whenever I keep them wondering a little bit. So I overperform, exceed expectations so that, you know what, if I want to take an extra vacation day or I don't get a report in on time, I always had a little more leeway.
Okay, so do those again. So there's 3 points, and we're going to flash these up on the screen. What are the 3 things? Overperform,
yeah. Exceeding expectations. Gosh, what was this?
And keep your boss afraid of you.
Oh, yeah. So keep your boss a little scared of you. Make him wonder what's going on in your head. Are you happy? He wants to really keep you happy. And that way, when like I said, it became like, oh shoot, I punted a report, I couldn't get it in on time, or you know what, I need to take a vacation day or miss a meeting or something. They're going to be really okay with that. But you have to earn that. Like you have to seriously earn that.
Well, yeah, I mean, being entitled is, just stupid, but, there's a huge rant out there, and I've never run into this myself personally, so I really feel for people who have truly run into this, but, this idea that women get paid 70% on the dollar of what men, maybe it's just because they didn't ask. Do you know what I mean? Like, now I know that doesn't apply to everybody, and I don't need to get any, hate mail, but.
Well, no, it happened to me when at Office Max, I found out they'd hired someone, my male counterpart, and they started him out $2,500 higher than me. And I was pissed.
I bet.
So pissed. I had pushed back a little bit and done a little bit of negotiation and hiring, but that happens. That happens. Don't let it happen to you.
What'd you do?
Oh, well, I made sure we made that up later on. We made that up later on.
You got that handled?
Yeah, I got it handled.
I got it handled. Threw it down. All right, cool. Well, let's give our adorable salespeople who make it happen, who go out and make it happen every day, a little bit of a real insight to what we know happens for salespeople every single day. So every single day. So over the last couple weeks, it's been a real emotional roller coaster. And I'm very interested to hear how this is for you and the people that you train. Like, do you train people about how to deal with for me, it's like, if I don't get a deal in a week, like if I don't close anything in a week, I'm just, Chicken Little, the world has come to an end, and I'm never going to close another deal again. And then, the next week, 3 or 4, you know what I mean? Like, that's what happened to me is like 1 week, and for a week and a half, just like crickets. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden last week, I had frankly, the biggest week of my career.
Really?
Yeah, I closed some big ass deals. I had a really good week last week. But anyway, now I'm like terrified because now I need to go close another deal. Like it's never good. So how do you coach your salespeople to deal with that sort of roller coaster ride that is sales?
Well, I think what I like to do is break it down into smaller successes. Let's not focus on like closing the deal. Let's focus on, getting someone on the phone, and then focus on getting someone to respond to email, and then getting the conversation going. Because it's really, if you only benchmark your success by those one big parameters or barometer of closing a deal, then you just sort of, here's what I think it does. It makes the highs and the lows bigger. So you have bigger highs, and then you've got this long valley and until your next big high. But if you can make it so that, you celebrate those successes along the way as you go. So it's not, oh my God, I've gone 2 weeks without closing a deal. It's, it's been 2 days since someone's responded on the phone, or since I've had a really good conversation. So you sort of back up that emotional roller coaster into more of like a little kiddie ride.
Kiddie ride.
And sort of balance.
In the teacups at Disney World, the teacups.
Yeah, so that there are less peaks and less low valleys. And so that seems to work really well. And yeah, and the belief that it will happen is so important. It's so important that you believe in yourself and that you can do it. Your belief system and your mindset is so key to being successful in sales. If you think that people are going to hang up on you, you think that people are going to think that you're bothering them or that you're annoying them and that you're never going to be successful. I mean, like all that head trash that weighs you down will show up in the results because your energy will be low.
Head trash.
Head trash. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So that's what we try to do is take away the big peaks and valleys and make it more like a kiddie ride.
You know, it's so smart because I had you in my head. I was so grateful. Thank you so much for being in my head last week. Because it was like, I got it, you know, like it looks like you're not getting anywhere. And here's what you do. You stick to your process. You stick to your process and you stick to your process and you don't like go wild. And, you know, there was one thing that happened on Friday. There's somebody I do appointment setting for, and I hadn't set an appointment for this guy in like, I don't know, a week and a half. And it's a no-brainer kind of appointment to set, right? So I was on Friday afternoon, I'm like, look, I'm just going down the list. I was like, Chris Gardner, I'm going down the list and I am not getting off the phone until I've set an appointment. I know I'm supposed to be done for the day, but this is not over. And the very next call, I set an appointment. But it was that thing that was in my head that you say is you got to trust the process.
Yep.
You got to believe in the process. You got to get back to like doing it the right way. That's exactly right. So anyway, I hope that helps. It's a lonely world out there sometimes in sales.
It can. It's, you know, it's kind of a solo sport. I mean, we're playing with others more now in our, you know, like we'll bring in our, you know, production people or, you know, partners and stuff to sell, but it really is about you. And I love that you made one more call. Isn't there a book? Just make one more call.
Fanatical prospecting.
Yeah, just make one more call because what you did was you didn't give up on yourself. It wasn't that, you didn't give up on yourself. It wasn't that you just said, well, I'll just try it again tomorrow. It was, I'm going to keep going until I get there. And that's grit. That is grit. It's so important.
Great. Make one more call. Yes, absolutely. Hey, Jeb Blunt. Jeb Blunt was back there cheering you on in my head. I was like, I am not going down without a result today.
I'm not going out like this.
Not going out like this. Well, I'm really disappointed. I know we have to end our show. It feels like it's been kind of short, and I look the best that I've looked in like, I don't know, 14 years. So here, nice look at it. All right, cool. So anything else for you?
No. This is so much fun. I hope people, you know, can understand that selling is fun. Talking about selling is fun. It's not warmed over porridge, to quote my friend Dianna Gear in the Irrelevant Sales Girl. It really can be fun. It's, you know, embrace it, have fun, laugh, know that people are inherently good and that people are rooting you on for your success. And if you believe it, and believe that you can and will be successful, then you will be.
We are rooting you on for your success. You can always reach out to us.
Yes. Find us. Tweet us.
Find us.
Love us.
All right. Find us and stop hoping.
And start selling.
Woo! All right. Bye.
Bye. See you next time.
Okay.